Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Hi, today I have Adam with me. Hi, Adam.
Hello, Sarah.
Adam Roach is the founder and CEO of I Love Coaching Co., where he helps experienced leaders turn their knowledge and life experience into coaching businesses that are both meaningful and profitable. Very important word. With
Yes.
over 2 decades of entrepreneurial experience, Adam has built and scaled businesses across multiple industries, from owning a high performing tennis club in Beverly Hills to leading real estate organizations, supporting hundreds of agents, and generating billions in sales. Today, his work focuses on helping coaches build businesses rooted in clarity, identity, and real results through his Real Coach method, a simple relational approach to growing a coaching practice without relying on complex funnels or hype driven tactics. Adam is also a speaker, mentor, and advocate for building businesses that align with who you are, not just what the market says you should do.
Very true. That is it. That sounds like me.
Okay, but I have one question for you then. Who is Adam Roach?
Great question. I'm a very spiritual guy, so I'm just I'm a son of God. I mean, at the end of the day, it is none of this is for me. None of this is about me. All of this is from a servant's heart. And at the end of the day, I've been in the success path. And yeah, sure. It feels good to make money. It feels good to sell companies. I've exited 4 successfully. John Maxwell is a dear friend and mentor. And he said, Adam, you got to pay attention. What path are you going down? A success path or a significant path? He says, you can actually have both, but if you make one success, the only path you're going down, it will be a dead end. And I can tell you that that Adam Roach was not fulfilled, was empty, was shallow, was very ego driven, was very me centered, was I got my fulfillment from outside sources that wasn't sustainable. And so it wasn't until, sadly enough, my father passed in 2019. He was an Olympic swim coach. He had been my coach my entire life. And he died early in his 60s. And I spoke his eulogy and I looked out over the audience, Sarah, and I saw all the people he had an impact on. I saw the athletes, I saw the coaches, I saw the parents, and there were 400 or 500 people at his funeral. And I called the beach there, and I came back to Charleston, South Carolina, which is where I live. And I owned 3 real estate franchises. I owned a software company, and financially was very successful. And I'm a spiritual guy, so I prayed. Took my Bible, I took my journal, I took some sunscreen for my bald head, and I sat on the beach. And I said, "Point me in the direction you want me to go. Where do you want me to go? Who do you want me to become? My coach is gone, but I need you. I need direction, right?" And so I keep it right here. It's Proverbs 13:20. Walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm. And what I heard there was sell everything. So I sold everything. And what I realized was at that moment in time, nearly 7 years ago, that John was right. I was on a success path and it was a dead end. I wasn't having the significance of serving other people. And that's where I stepped in and created the I Love Coaching community to serve coaches who were having an impact on other people. So we have a vision statement inside the I Love Coaching community where it says to empower coaches to change and serve 100 million people following our real coach method. And so that's who Adam Roach is now.
Amazing. Well, first of all, I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
And it's amazing. I love meeting people who want to make impact.
Well, that's what we're made for, right? I mean, that really is. And again, I don't want to come off sounding cheeky or inauthentic, but it's true. Success is cool.
It is.
Significance is legacy oriented, right? And you can have both. You can definitely have both. I believe when you have significance, success follows. If you have success, it doesn't mean significance is always going to be there. And I want everyone to hear, I'm just defining significance as serving other people. That's how I define it. So now when I get to step in that space, there we've been blessed to serve coaches on 4 continents now. And I don't know people on 4 continents. I live in Charleston, South Carolina, but the community has expanded that way because we have authentically started serving people. And that's what REAL stands for. REAL is not an arrogant term inside of our community. It's an acronym, and that stands for relevant, experiential, authentic leaders. Because I believe that every coach should be a real coach.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's very good. So, you've worked with a lot of experienced professionals, right? What do you see happening when someone reaches a point where their old way is not working anymore? It doesn't fit them anymore, and they're not really sure what comes next.
Yeah, great question. Well, here's what I hear you really asking is who are they really? Really, it's an identity question. Because at the end of the day, I watch coaches come into our community all the time. And we have a blueprint that teaches them how to build a coaching business. Phase 2 is a $180,000 coaching business. Phase 3 is a $300,000 business. And phase 4 is $1 million. But each time you go into these phases, you become a different person. Your identity has to adjust, right? So what people do when they come into the coaching world is they think the container they're coming from has to be their identity. And that's not true. If I would have taken my real estate background, both from investing, from owning brokerages, selling brokerages, I'd be in the real estate space. When I first started, I coached real estate brokers and owners. Did I like it? Sure. Did it bring me passion? Did I have passion for it? No, because that wasn't what I felt called to build. So, answer your question, people have to know who they are and where they have passion and where they feel called to serve other people because that's what coaching really is.
Yeah, they need that moment by the beach.
They need a beach share moment, yes, but I have an equation, and we won't go into it too deep, but I'll just give it to them anyway because I've seen this way too many times, and this is part of our phase 1 of the blueprint. Phase 1 of our blueprint says you gotta go inside before you go outside, because if you don't come inside first, you're not going to be authentic on the outside, and here's what that equation looks like. And again, I don't wanna go too deep into this, but this could be a whole nother podcast. When you are identifying who you really are, you first have to realize you have a pose. Everybody has a pose. Pose, pose. And that pose was created from a wound. Somewhere in your past, you were wounded. And so from that wound, you created a lie. That lie creates a vow, VOW. That vow says, I'm going to hide that lie or overcome that lie because I don't want to feel that wound, which then creates your pose. And I'll share with you and share with the audience my real equation to that. My father was an Olympic swim coach. He was a decorated Olympic swim coach all around the world. So he was on magazine covers. He was in the Hall of Fame. He was an incredible water skier. He's the Hall of Fame of water skiing. So my father got his validation outside of the home. I love my dad. That's not negative. That's where he got his from. And so when I would walk into his office and I would see all these magazine covers, I would see all these athletes that we'd worked with, I established, and I didn't even know I did this, the lie that I was inadequate. I wasn't adequate. And the vow that I created almost without even thought was that I'm going to win. I'm going to compete. I'm going to drive. I'm going to do everything I can to win. And that's who I thought I was. My pose was that of a forming, driven man. Right? I'm going to go get it. But at the core, that's not who I really am. I know my heart is that of a adventurer. My heart is that of a warrior. My heart is that of a lover. And when I get to show up in that space authentically, I can serve people all day long. But if I show up as a performer, they'll see right through me sometimes. But that's that equation. And you've got to go through that equation. And sometimes it's hard.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what is your drop off rate? I'm kidding, but I know it's hard work. It's not for everybody.
It's not for everybody. And though at the end of the day, it is, again, I'll go back to that significant space. It sure does feel good. I shared with you before the call, we just got off our community call. And I don't know, there was maybe 30, 40, 50 coaches on there. that we were serving, and I could just see the lesson that we were teaching them today was impactful for them to go share with their who probably would go home and share with their spouses, maybe share with their kids, and maybe the spouse would go to work and share it, or maybe the kids would go to high school or college and share it. And so that's that ripple effect, and that's how we get to 100,000,000. I don't know how we're gonna get to 100,000,000, but that's what I believe is going to happen. Yep, and we were serving, right? We were serving. So, yeah, it is hard. It definitely is hard.
So you talk a lot about building a coaching business from identity rather than tactics, right? So what does that actually look like in real life, especially for someone starting over or pivoting from something else?
Yeah. Well, let's look at this. Going back to the language, I like to use the word container. So container just means where you came from, right? So again, using my own example, coming from the real estate container. Prior to that, I was in the tennis container, right? And we believe sometimes when we step into the coaching space that we got to use those containers to coach. But here's what we know. Yeah, good point. Yeah. Now part of that is right though, because we have to use our past experiences. Okay. So what we do is in phase one, when someone comes in, we teach them to go into what we call the problem solution cycle. And we take them all the way back to the point that they can remember their first problem solution cycle, wherever that was. Maybe that was when you started to get cognitively thinking brain and you start learning problem solutions, right? So I had a problem. I couldn't tie my shoe. I had to learn to tie my shoe. Okay, I solved that problem, right? That's a problem solution cycle. But the key part here is, again, I'll keep using myself as an example. I played college tennis. I tried to play professional tennis. I found out real quick that I was an American, not a European, who was getting my butt kicked all the time. And so I got into the tennis business. But that right there was a problem solution cycle. I wasn't making any money on the fake professional tour. So problem, because you got to eat and you got to keep lights on. You got to put gas in your tank. So I went and got a job teaching tennis. Just happened to be in Beverly Hills. It's really good. And I knew I didn't want to be just a tennis pro my entire life. No offense if there are just tennis pros listening, but I knew I wanted to own a business. Okay. So again, another problem. Problem was I didn't own a business, but I knew I had to figure out how to own a business. And so in that Beverly Hills tennis world, I worked my butt off. And within 4 years, I became general manager. And within 5 years, they actually gave me 10% of the company because I grew it so big. Problem, solution, right? Okay. Fast forward, I buy 3 real estate franchises. I got divorced in there. I had 2 kids in there. All of those are problem solution cycles. Okay. So we know Rory Vaden says from Brand Builders, you're most powerfully positioned to serve the person who you used to be. I'll say it again. You're most powerfully positioned to serve the person who you used to be. If you are stepping into the coaching space and you feel you have imposter syndrome, it's because you're trying to step into a problem solution cycle that you don't have a solution to. Sarah, if any of your listeners came to me and say, Adam, I want you to coach me to make $1 billion. I've never done that, Sarah. I've never made $1 billion. So I would be inauthentically stepping into that arrangement to say, I can help you get to $1 billion. I can't. I've never done it before. Okay. So let's back up. If you feel called to come into a coaching space, if you feel called to help people and the person who you used to be is who you're going to help, and you can identify the problem solution cycles that you have passion in, you got to have passion. I don't want to coach divorce. I don't have passion in that space, but I do have a problem solution cycle in it. But you have to find passion. So I'll give you an example. We had someone come in the community. She went through our blueprint. She had her avatar. She knew who she wanted to coach through her own problem solution cycle. And she comes back like 3 months later after she probably got about 10 clients. And she said, Adam, if I have to coach that avatar one more time, I'm going to pull my hair out like you. Great. And I said, what are you going to do? And she said, I'm going to go back to the blueprint and I'm going to redo that part again. She came out and she said, oh, I missed it. I said, what'd you miss? She said, I missed the part of passion. I said, okay, who's your avatar now? And she said, I want to coach mothers who are entrepreneurs and CEOs of their business because I'm one. Guess what? Her business took off, her passion grew in that space, and she now has a massive community of mothers who are CEOs. So cool. So that's the fun part of this coaching space is you, listener, you are a coach. You just have to find what problem solution cycle does your former self, and there's many of you out there, there's many of your former selves out there that you could serve with your own problem solution cycle. And that's how you start it.
That seems simple enough.
Yes.
I love that. I love that we don't forget passion because today we're just so busy trying to make it. And I love this other approach.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I'll give a little more because when you go through your problem solution cycle, okay, good. People want the solution. And I want your listeners, because I believe a lot of them are coaches, right? Or that solution, perfect, perfect. That solution there, you've got to identify that in the language that we use, it's called a payoff. A payoff. Because people don't care who you are. They don't care about your process. They don't care about your pieces. They only care about their payoff. And it doesn't always have to be financial. It just has to be a payoff. Now, here's the neat part. Sara, you and I are coaches. I love that. So we each can have our own unique payoff. So that's P number one. P number two is premise. Okay. Now here's what a premise is. A premise is your belief in that specific space. It's your worldly belief of that solution, from problem to solution to the payoff of that. Now, you can coach coaches, I can coach coaches, but our beliefs can be different. And your belief will align with a certain coach. My belief will align with a certain coach. And then the last P is what we call practice or methodology. How do or what are the steps that I have to take based on my beliefs to get to the payoff? And now you have a coach.
Pretty cool, huh?
Very fun.
Okay. There's so much noise in the online business space, funnels, strategies, content, all the things. What do you think people are overcomplicating the most right now?
Great question. Well, I think coaches come into the coaching space and they don't know what kind of coaching business they want to build. Is it one-on-one? Is it, and I don't like this language, group coaching? Because is it keynote speaking? Is it book writing? Is it social media influencer? Who and what do you want to do? And how do you want to build your business? Now we're going to go into my premise here. This is my premise, my belief that you have to identify the problem solution cycles first. Then you have to go into one-on-one coaching first. And here's why. Another three P's that we coach. The very first P is called proximity. You will build your coaching business based on the people you have proximity to right now that is relational, that all need and desire your problem solution cycle. Okay. So what we teach in phase two is for you to go get 10 one-on-one coaching clients that are in proximity to you. You charge them whatever you want to. We suggest in the beginning, you charge them $1,500 a month. And when you have 10, that's $15,000 a month. And that's $180,000 a year. If you coach them for 30 minutes a week, 2 hours in a month, that's 5 hours a week, 20 hours in a month to make that much money, 15,000. So that's the first thing is getting clarity on the model you're going to follow. We believe proximity is first. The second P in building the business is now a one-to-many. One-to-many means you are now going to find the peers of the people you're coaching, and you're going to coach them. If you had a book, I want our listeners to think about this. Your problem solution cycle is a macro. It's big. Inside of your macro are very small micros, and we're going to call that your book. So the macro problem solution cycle is the book. The micro problem solution cycles are your chapters. When you are coaching a one-to-many, this is phase three. You are working with the one-on-ones. You're only going to take 10 because then you're going to build a wait list. The peers of the people that you are coaching are going to want to work with you. We're going to put those people into a one to many approach. And that book that you have, Problem Solution Cycle, you're only going to coach them a chapter. The one on one people, they get the whole book. The one to many people, a chapter. Okay. Now, the neat part about this, as you're building this business right here, you're starting to create and establish what we call your process. That's your third P. Now, your process truly is your book. So I don't know if we are video oriented. I think you said we are. This is our blueprint. It's 280 pages of a process. Okay. So we have proximity. I have one on one coaching clients that I coach. We have a one to many, which is our community, and we have a process. We technically have three businesses in one. So to answer your question, coaches have to know where do they want to go first and what model are they going to follow. And this works. This works really well.
Walk us a little bit through the real coach method. Like,
Yes.
what does that entail actually? Make it simple.
Perfect. The real coach method is the blueprint and the community. Because Sarah, here's what we know. That's simple. What do people want? People want content to consume. First and foremost, I believe we are way past the information age. Information age has long passed us. We are in an implementation age. So people want content. They want to know how to's. Yes, with the advent of AI, there's a lot of abilities of how to's, right? But that is, I can give this blueprint right now to all your listeners. Some will have success, majority won't. Why? Because people want content and community. People want to know how to do something, or they want to know that you know how to do something, and then people will pay for the how to. So those two C's is what we know people need. They want content and they want community, and that's what the real coach method is: blueprint and community.
That's amazing. My little tagline is you don't need another course, you need community.
Right.
Because actually that's it. And I think a lot of people are missing the mark. They think that clients are coming to them for the content, for the information, but no, they're coming for the implementation as well. They're coming for the accountability. They're coming to tell you exactly what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, that's a good coach, right? Is a good coach is going to give you the framework. A good coach is going to give you the environment for you to have success. And again, let's go back to our three P's: proximity. So I only take clients now because I've built all three, and we have built a seven-figure coaching business. So everything that I have done is modeled inside of the I Love Coaching community. So I no longer have many one-on-one coaching clients unless they're coming from the community and they want to be coached one-on-one. So therefore, I have a very high dollar mark for my one-on-one time because remember, one to many, it's chapters at a time. If you want the whole book, you come one-on-one coaching. And here's the other thing: people have to pay attention, and people who pay a lot of attention.
That's the ultimate, like, that's the key. I
Yeah.
agree.
It's a lot of fun.
A lot of women in midlife struggle with charging for their work or valuing their experience. What shifts need to happen actually for someone to start seeing their knowledge as something valuable?
I love this. Great question. So this is a really, really good topic. Every month I run a challenge, and it's called the K Coaching Offer Challenge, because people come into the coaching space and you're absolutely right. They think they are the value. That's not true. People don't care about you. What do they care about? They care about your payoff. They care about you getting them from the problem that they have to the solution that you've developed. So Sarah, if I told you that I could teach you how to make $1 million and that's what you were desiring, would you pay me $100,000?
Yes.
You don't know anything about Adam Roach.
But you promised me a
That's
million
right.
dollars.
You knew the payoff, right? The payoff landed in a desirable space that you want. So we call it the 10% rule, right? So the 10% rule is just that you, listeners, coach, are not for sale. You're not for sale. If you think you are for sale, Sarah, can I be direct with the listeners? Perfect. If you think you are for sale and that's the way that your pricing is going, you're thinking like an employee because employees literally trade their time for money. There's nothing wrong with that. I love employees. It's okay. In America, I think it's 73% of the population is employees. That's great. But I'm gonna challenge all of you listeners that if you're thinking that you have to charge based on an hourly wage, you are thinking like an employee. That's why the problem solution cycle is so important because you have to identify the solution's payoff. And it can be twofold. It can be growth oriented payoff or opportunity loss payoff. So, for example, let's just go back to the divorce space. So, let's say I go through a divorce and a divorce costs someone, I don't know, let's go with $500,000, right? So, you've got lawyers, you've got forensic accountants, and you've got, I don't know, child support elements, whatever. It costs you $500,000. If I could save you that $500,000, would you pay me $50,000?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, all day long. No brainer, right? So let's go back to pricing. So in our 10K coaching offer challenge, that's what we do. In 3 days, we help people just 1 hour a day identify what their offer is. Identify the offer. You aren't the offer. Your payoff is the offer. When you get that identified, you can take it out to the world. So we had someone last year do this. Came from a container, had a very employee mindset, and I said, "Just trust me. It's gonna be uncomfortable, just trust me." So she went through the whole process, and she went through the challenge, joined our community, and I think she was making like $80,000 a year at her. And then I said, "You're gonna do this. You're gonna get one-on-ones first, and then you're gonna build one-to-many, but I need you to stay with this." So at the end of the year, she had made $260,000
Wow.
coming from $80,000 because she was not for sale. Her solution was, her payoff was, and people bought the payoff because she understood who her avatar was and the way her avatar thought and the way the avatar felt and what the avatar wanted. They don't care about you. They care about your payoff. So that's how you price it.
That makes a lot of sense.
Good. I, this is such a fun conversation. Thank you. This is fun.
It is. I'm already like my mind is going a little bit. I do thinking into results at the Procter Gallagher. And so, the thinking is out there. Just like what you're describing. I'm like, okay, so they're right then? Are they right? What does a business that actually supports your life and not drains it look like to you?
Great question. Well, if we stay in the financial space first, you have to know your three buckets. Your past bucket is your debts. Your present bucket is your lifestyle. Tomorrow bucket is, or future, yeah. You have your past, present, and future buckets. And your future bucket is tomorrow's money, right? So you have to know your number. Let's just period be there. You have to know your number. And what we have found is that's why we call it the 10K coaching offer challenge, is because most coaches will come in and say, I want to make $10,000 a month. Okay, great. So that's really an easy number to get to, but you have to know your number. So I'll share with you our philosophy. I'll even read it to you of our family because we have to have, I believe, we had to have a family philosophy of money. And it goes like this. Money is simply a byproduct of our faith, love, and gratitude for everyone around us. Right. So when you provide value, that success will come. Investing is our vehicle for establishing monthly and annual cash flows that are 100% greater than our monthly and annual expenses. So we want to take the money that we are blessed with and we want to invest so that money comes back to us from those usually real estate investments or business investments, covers our present bucket. So if our lifestyle costs us $20,000 a month, we want to go make that from our passive income, right? Wealth is not measured in money by our It's measured by family experiences that create lasting memories and epic family tales. And then lastly, we say giving is part of our core value. This is an action which is always at the forefront of our minds. Giving is not limited to only money. It includes time, resources, energy, love, knowledge, and money. So when you build a business that doesn't feel like it's just coming down on top of you, it's because you know your number. When you know your number, now you know how big to build the business. My wife and I, we know our number. I've built a seven-figure coaching business. She is running real estate company. We know our number. We are able to give above our number, and that is what we love. And we went on an event with John Maxwell last year, and it was a fundraiser. We were in Puerto Rico, and it was an incredible event. Just, I mean, if you ever get a chance to go to a John Maxwell event, or one like this where it was a personal invite, and he had rented out the whole hotel. And I'm sharing this story not from a gloating standpoint, but from a significant standpoint because we knew our number. When John asked for money or donations for his non-for-profit called Equip, which is serving the youth and leading them to God's kingdom, we were able to write a six-figure check because we knew our number. And it was okay to do that, right? It was okay to do that. And, oh, the amount that came back from that, knowing that we were stewards of that, right? John says this all the time. When you can get to a point where you realize none of this is yours, you're just here to manage it. That's when it just becomes freeing. All of this becomes freeing because none of it's yours. You're just here to manage it, right? So when it comes to your money, when it comes to building a business that just doesn't overwhelm you, doesn't feel like it sits on your shoulders, you know your numbers. And it's easy to build. And a coaching business can fulfill such an amazing life. The money is fantastic. When you're solving problems for people, I'll share this with the money side too. People pay for compression of time. That's kind of a coach hack. And here's what I mean by that. Sarah, if I could get you to $1,000,000 in 12 months, okay, you said you would pay $100,000. But if I could get you to $1,000,000 in 6 months, but yet we met and we were only going to meet for 2 days, you'd pay $200,000. People pay for compression of time. If I could get you the result in half the time and you would only work with me for 48 hours and it was a guaranteed $1,000,000, you would pay $200,000, which is double what the original was, right? Yeah. So you got to know your numbers. You got to really understand the payoff value that you're bringing to people. And then when it comes to your lifestyle, you got to know your 3 buckets. Sorry, I can get really excited about this. So I apologize if I feel like I'm preaching here.
Oh, no, I love it because I like that we are the stewards of all of this. And I think we get stuck a lot with the logistics,
Yeah.
with the, how am I going to do this? How am I going to get that? What's going to happen? And we are just afraid to look at the numbers and know exactly how much money we need because we think we're being greedy, because we think it's too much. I can't even believe I spend that much. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
we are just one big problem.
Well, but here's the thing, and this is just again my family. We actually believe in having success because of the significance that we can play with that success. That's what it is all about for us, right? Again, I don't want to impose my thoughts or my premise on other people because at the end of the day, that's what we believe, and that's actually what drives us. And that's so fun to know that as I'm serving coaches, those coaches are having success. I don't get a penny from the coach's success. We are a membership model. So they pay a membership fee to be inside of I Love Coaching. And the growth of the company helps and serves my family so that we can go serve other families because we know our number. And that's what we do this for, is to give.
I've had this conversation inside my own membership with my women, and sometimes they will say, but can you imagine having that money? I mean, people are, they become greedy or whatever. And we're like, but can you imagine how much you could give if you had so much money, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about, is showing up and
Yes.
being there. You know,
Yes.
because if you don't make any money, yes, you have very good intentions, but let's face it, that's all it is,
Yeah. No,
right?
don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to be righteous when I say you got to have significance, but at the same time, it's success and significance go hand in hand. And the more success you have, the more significance you can have. But if you just have success, that's shallow. If you have success and significance, and you're doing the significance, and the success comes, you can have more significance.
I love that. Yes. Thanks for sharing that with us.
My pleasure.
If someone is feeling stuck or scattered right now, what's the first decision they need to make to start moving forward again?
So, are we talking? Are they in the coaching space, or are they out of the coaching space?
They're probably in the coaching space. They are in starting their coaching business.
Okay. So if you're stuck, you probably are in a space of a couple things. Number one, you don't know what your payoff is. And number two, you don't know who your avatar is. And you have to have both of those defined. Now, here's the crazy part about the avatar. I already told the story of the lady. We take you through 3 paces inside the blueprint when it comes to defining your avatar. And very simply, this is how it goes. First question you have to ask, do you like them? Because if you're coaching someone and you look at your calendar and you say, oh my gosh, I'm meeting with Sarah today at 4 o'clock. Am I super excited? Or I'm like, I don't want to meet with Sarah today. Okay, so that's the very first question. Do I like them? Second question, and I don't want you to say that you're Superman or Superwoman here. Can I and will I, can I help them and will I help them? Okay. Now, most of us will say, yes, of course I can. And yes, I will help. But if you ask me to help you get to $1 billion, I can't help you. So you have to know what your problem solution cycle is, payoff, to answer that question. And then the third question, can they afford you? Very simply. If you are stuck, go ask those 3 questions. Do I like them? Can I and will I help them? Can they afford me? And you need to know what that is, right? And again, remember, you are not for sale when it comes to afford, your payoff is. So if you don't know what your payoff is, you got to go back and identify what that is. So if you're feeling stuck, you're not stuck. You just have lack of clarity. And clarity creates unstuckness.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, our last question before our rapid fire. I have a rapid
Ooh,
fire for you.
okay, good.
If you were speaking directly to a woman who knows she wants something more, but isn't quite trusting herself yet, what would you say to her in
Good
general?
question. Well, so let's back up a second. And I would imagine this is really true in your community too. Why don't people invest in themselves? If we look at the value that you offer, the I Love Coaching community, the value it offers, when I look at our pipeline of coaches that I have on a wait list, because I don't take every Tom, Dick, and Harry, I look at them. And if they don't, if I go ahead and say, "Hey, we want you to be a part of the community," and they don't invest, but they know it's the right fit for them, it's not that they don't think that I'm valuable, the community's valuable. They don't believe in themselves. They don't believe or trust themselves that they're going to follow through with it. So if someone is in that space with your community too, if they are not saying yes and it aligns with what they desire, it's not you. It's they don't believe that they will follow through with what is supposed to happen. Let's look at people who go get gym memberships in January. Why do they get gym memberships? Why do they get gym memberships? Because they wanna be healthier, they wanna get in shape. Men thinks they want six packs, right? They wanna look strong on the beach when it comes to summertime, right? And they go once, they go twice, and then they stop going because it's not their routine and because they weren't committed to it to begin with. So they don't believe in themselves. If you are in a space like that, it's okay. You actually probably need to go around and get a community. And because here's what a community will solve for you. Very simply. There's 3 things. It's called transformation. Transformation begins with humility. You will transform fastest when you step into a space of humility. Well, what's humility? Just sharing your mess. It's okay. Just share your mess. Transformation thrives in a community. And then transformation hires transformation. So when you coach that are on the fence with joining a community or buying a product to help yourself to go serve other people, you got to realize that when you do this, when you commit to yourself and you invest in yourself, and that last transformation inspires transformation. There are people watching you every single day, whether you know it or not. And when they see that you are transforming, you know what they're going to ask you? What'd you do? Because transformation inspires transformation. Well, I want to do what you did. I want to go to the gym you're going to. I want to join the community that you're part of. I want to. So if you're making this the fact that you don't believe you'll do it, go find a coach, go find a mentor, go find someone you can talk to, and just understand, stop making this about you. This is about somebody else. Let this become about somebody else. Invest in yourself to go serve other people so that transformation inspires transformation.
That's good. Thank you. Thanks
My
for
pleasure.
sharing that with us. Okay, I have a few rapid fire for you.
Ready.
Okay, ready?
Ready.
A word that defines this season of your life.
Love.
A book or quote that shaped you.
Ooh, good one. Book would be probably Dan Martell's book back in 2023, Buy Back Your Time.
Something simple that makes you feel grounded.
My dog.
What does self care look like for you right now?
Self-care looks like I have a nutritionist, I have a fitness coach, and I'm pretty deep into it right now. So I have a functioning medicine doctor. And when my father passed, so he passed in his 60s, and I'll be 50 next year. And I told him on his deathbed that I didn't beat him in a lot of things. I said, but the one thing that I will beat you in is age. I'm going to surpass your age as far as I can. Right? So I have a goal to live to be 103. So I'm very deep into quarterly blood work. I'm very deep into understanding peptides. I'm very deep into understanding food. I have a nutritionist and a coach. He's on Instagram too. Alan Dick, DYCK is his name. He's Canadian and he's amazing. And so self-care is very important. I have a routine every night. It's hot tub, then it's cold plunge, and it's red light therapy. I sleep with a sleep mask. Oh, Sarah, I could go on and on and on.
Amazing. I love that. Love that.
Sorry, that wasn't very rapid fire answer. I apologize.
No, but I like the answer. It's important. It's important, and I see you have a very specific number to get to. So very good, very good. 103.
103. That's right. I don't know where that came from, but that's what we're shooting for.
Well, that's what we're going with.
Yes.
Adam, before we go, how can my people find you and how can they work with you?
Yeah, just go to find me on Instagram, Adam R. Roach. There's an R there in the middle. That stands for Ray, which is Adam R. Roach. And you'll see on there, you'll see me as a family man on there. And that's important to me. You're not going to go to my Instagram and learn all these coaching tactics. No, that is inside of our community, right? So inside of the community, it's ilovecoachingco.com. But you'll see on my Instagram that if you DM me the word coach, I'll send you over a guide that says get paid to coach. We have our challenge coming up. I don't know, Sarah, when this drops, but we have a challenge coming up at the end of May. You'll see on my Instagram how to get involved with that. It's a very low barrier to entry and a very low time commitment. So go to Adam R. Roach, or you can go to ilovecoachingco.com. Give me a follow on Instagram and I'll reach out to you. I'll personally reach out to you and say hi.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. I'll make sure this drops before you have your challenge so that everybody can learn about that. Adam, thank you so much. I love this conversation. Thank you. And I'll see you.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.